The moment you try to win an argument with a bully, you've already lost. Why? Because you have stepped into their arena. And smart women, they don't try to outshout or out insult or fight a bully. We don't have energy for that. Instead, we do something much more dangerous. We outclass them. Today, I'm teaching you the lawyer's method of dealing with narcissists, difficult coworkers, and adult bullies. I have lived this and it is so painful, but there is a 3-step psychological framework that shuts them down. Boom, without ever raising your voice and ever letting your cortisol levels spike and ever letting them drag you into that. So let's get into it, because here is the trap. They want you ugly. They want you. A bully's goal is to get you upset, is to get you crying, is to get you angry, your blood pressure raised. It's to get you to start, having all these emotional actions. And when they get you ugly, they get you right where you want, when you get in that defensive mode, right? But for a smart woman, the shift is your emotions is your currency. So if you get angry, you just paid them. Oh, like nobody wants that. We don't want to pay a bully, but when we give them our emotions, that is what happens. And so here is the idea. We want to move from reaction, which is like childish, right? To a response, which is strategic. And for those of you watching this that want help in your everyday life, in your everyday business, this won't be for everyone. And I know we're only like a minute into the video, but there is a way to have a board of advisors and a mentor in your pocket 24/7 in real time. So click the link in the show notes and you can book a call with me. Again, I know this is not for everyone. And for the rest of you who love just watching free content, so glad that you're here with us. All right, let's move on. So here's the plan. Rule number 1, I told you is a 3-step plan. Rule number 1 is the power of no move. Like that is it. No response to a bully is so many times the best response. We were in this situation in one of our businesses the past year, and there was a lot of chaos and a lot of turmoil going on. And some of the people involved were bullies. Not all the people involved were bullies, but some were. And I told myself, I told my community, I told my husband, we will not participate. That is the no move. Sometimes doing nothing is the exact opposite of what they want, right? Because when you pause and you respond with silence, or if it's face to face, you stare at them in silence, it forces them to take like actual ownership of how awkward they are how awkward of a situation that they are creating right then in that moment. And the truth is, their brain like glitches. They expect a resistance from you. They expect some sort of like reaction, and silence makes them feel the weight of their own behavior. Because here's how it typically goes with a bully. They say something rude, and what if instead of responding right back to them, you pause and maintain eye contact for 3 seconds? Like that feels like a long time, right? To be silent on screen. But if you have a bully, an adult bully sitting there talking to you, and you look at them in silence and respond with something like, I'm sorry, can you say that again? It makes them say it twice. And now they're having to hear it back to themselves and hear how rude and awkward it is. Or what if you responded with something like, did you mean to say that out loud? And again, it gives that awkward moment where they're having to reflect on what they just said. Now, maybe they're just an asshole and like they did mean to say that out loud. And I feel like that probably tells you everything you need to know about your relationship with that person moving forward. Rule number 2, stop asking for the apology. Smart women have to stop explaining their pain to people who genuinely do not care. And this is something that I've truly struggled with because I care about humans. This whole YouTube channel is created and this whole podcast is created so that you guys are able to learn from my mistakes, to learn about my journey. I want to give back to the world, to leave an impact before my last day. But the truth is not everyone is like that. Some people do not care about your success. They do not care about being a vote for you. They are so consumed with themselves that they have usually like, right? Okay, here I am explaining away someone else's problems. I know, but I'm going to do it anyway. Side note, this was not in the notes for the episode, but like they have trauma, they have unresolved shit, they have things that they haven't worked through, and I feel like because of that, that's how they show up in the world, right? And so it literally turns into narcissism because like they know that they hurt you, and explaining it to them does not cause like an epiphany. Like people that genuinely care, like they usually already have apologized or have already talked to you about it, especially if some time has passed. But if you are trying to explain, like you hurt me, you did this to me, this made me, and they're a narcissist already, like they aren't going to suddenly be like, oh, you know what? I'm a jerk. I shouldn't have done that. Like, let me tell you, one of my ex-husbands went so far as to buy me a book about being a narcissist, and I was married to the narcissist. What? Like, that's how blind they are sometimes. And so I think the shift happens for us, though, is like when we stop seeking validation from these people, right? Who broke us. The person who broke you. You don't need their apology to know that what they did was not okay, to know that you were mistreated. Like, validate yourself and close the case. Lawyer method. Like, it's over. When the case is over, it's over. You don't keep arguing to an empty jury, right? No one's sitting there listening. And that's the case for this. So stop asking for that apology. It does not determine your healing. Getting that apology is not something that like, oh, now I can let it go. Like, we don't need that. We already know what they did. They don't have to refuse to acknowledge it. And I think that leads us straight into rule number 3 is the check-in. So every time you encounter a bully, ask yourself, and sometimes them, is this helpful or is it hurtful? So like, let's say that someone's like, what they're trying to say something like coy and it's disguising as bullying, like as feedback or honesty. Like, I'm just gonna be honest with you, or let me just give you some feedback. Like, woohoo, woohoo, little antennas need to go off like up in the air right now, right? And when they try to come at you from that like honesty or feedback angle, like you can literally say out loud, and I'm giving you permission right here today of, I'm curious, was that designed to be helpful or hurtful? And here's why it works. Because if they say helpful, then you can come back and say, well, you know what? It doesn't really sound like it. Pause, 2, 3, right? Pause and make them respond to you. Don't feel like you have to fill the void with your explanation. And if they say hurtful, well, then they've already acknowledged that what they were saying was hurtful. And if they're okay with that, like that tells you what you need to know, because the truth is, then it's time to walk away. That is the difference between smart women and everyone else, is we know when to walk away. It is the power move to walk away from something that is no longer serving you. And it's not quitting. Here's the truth. Underline, bold. It is firing them from your current reality. Something that was always good for you doesn't have to always be good for you in the future. You can fire someone or something from your current reality. That is the boss move, right? In life. And you can't fix their perspective. You can't fix how they act, how they see the world, the things that they say. But what you can fix is your response. How are you going to respond to what it is that is happening? And if you have a specific bullying problem right now that's like coming to mind, like drop an emoji or drop a few lines in the comments or DM me, and I'll give you a script, like a real quick script. And it's probably things that you already know, but sometimes having that friend on the other side of the screen that can mirror you and say back to you things that you already know really helps us get from where we are, from where we want to be. Because at the end of the day, we must be the change in the world, not be the bully.